Welcome to the Unexpected Podcast, where your hosts, Lee and Amy, carry on simple conversations about everything from life experiences, the current culture, God, and everything in between. And because Lee has put Amy through years of surprises, this is her time to surprise him with unexpected topics he won't be privy to until the microphone is on and the camera is rolling. This is the Unexpected Podcast. Welcome to another episode. We're so happy that you joined us today.
Glad you're here.
And Lee, I notice, has a new hat.
Ah, my hat.
I like that.
I thought about being a world traveler, but this is as far as I got.
Okay, well, it's a start.
So I'll keep looking at this and thinking, hey, maybe we'll go there. Where's that?
Alaska. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go. I mean, this will be a good time of year to go.
Yeah, not bad.
Let's take off.
Mm-hmm.
I like your hat.
Thanks.
You're a man of many hats.
I like hats.
Both literally and figuratively.
You know, there's a metaphor for everything.
There is. Well, let's jump right into a topic. As you guys know, Lee doesn't know anything about today's topic, and I thought we would just jump right into it.
Ooh, let's jump.
And we're going to talk about something that affects every human being, and that is...
gas.
Not appropriate.
Sorry.
Totally inappropriate. Although it coincides with the topic, which is we're going to talk about getting old. Growing older. And you know, the alternative to growing older is much worse.
Yeah.
It's
depends on who you are, where you've been.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the thing that spurred this on for me. I came across this article a while back. So we're not just going to talk about getting older, but we're going to talk about partially how does aging affect our brain. And actually, although we often look at the downside of that topic, there are some positives. So I want us to focus on that.
All right.
Here
we go.
Yeah, you know, we're not teenagers anymore, and this is a relevant topic, but it's really relevant to everyone because everyone gets older. So, I mean, you know, and we've experienced it, where maybe things that you once were able to recall very quickly, maybe you don't recall them quite as quickly.
What were we talking about?
Very funny. Funny. All right. So I came across this article, and it's based on a study that actually happened in 2015, but it's still very relevant. And there are other studies that corroborate these findings. And basically, they did MRIs of people of different ages performing different activities.
Okay.
And what they found was that if a young person is doing, say, when we say young, we're talking about teenagers, 20-somethings. When they do an activity and then they're finished with it and they move to something else, that part of the brain shuts down very quickly. It turns off quickly, and then they're able to move to something much more quick, very quickly. But in an older person, it takes longer for the part of the brain that you're currently using to turn off. So it takes a little bit longer to maybe switch to other activities. So multitasking maybe becomes a little bit slower, and we're just talking about like normal aging brains in just regular healthy people.
More difficulty.
Right. Yeah. But what I liked about this was that there are a number of positives.
Okay.
So, for example, they have found that there are a lot of benefits to your brain aging. And one of those is better rational thinking, better decision making. And so what they found in this other study was that they took people who were being trained as air traffic controllers. It's kind of funny. I mean, you're wearing more of a pilot's hat, but anyway, air traffic controllers or airline pilots, and anyone like 50, let's see, I think the age range was 50 to late 60s. When they had to learn new equipment, it took them longer to learn it than it did anyone younger than that, people under 50. Wow. But in the long term, the older group made fewer mistakes. They were actually more consistent and better at the job long term.
I'm going through that right now a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can understand that because I intentionally go slow so that I can learn what I'm doing, not so that I can be quicker right off the bat, but so that I can be quicker later.
Right.
So if I know all the ins and outs of something, then I'm going to take, when I'm learning the ins and outs of something, I'm going to take longer and I'm going to be slower. And I can understand that.
And don't you think that's kind of encouraging?
It's very encouraging because it puts me at the age of, maybe I'm not slowing down. I'm just being normal.
Right. Exactly.
I like
it. Exactly. So I want to point out a few things here, some other benefits to the aging brain. And so I mentioned already, inductive reasoning often becomes better. I mean, obviously we're operating with more wisdom. We should be more just natural wisdom as we get older.
Exactly. Some people. I still do kind of not wisdom things.
Sure, not wisdom things. I like that. That's a good phrase.
Yeah.
We're not always wise, but overall, as you age, you have a little bit of experience, but just the brain itself is better at making better decisions.
Something I always tell people, I believe that I've told our kids several times, these things of like, well, there we went. The train left the station.
The train has left the station.
What were we talking
Elvis
about?
Has left the building.
It's kind of ironic that just happened, and we're talking
You're
about
talking
this.
about something that you tell our kids.
Okay,
about,
before that, what wisdom?
Better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so experiential knowledge outweighs philosophical knowledge by far. The experiences of a person's life and the things that, if I eat ice cream, then I've experienced the ice cream. If somebody else is philosophizing what ice cream should taste like,
right,
they're not going to have the knowledge that I have about the ice cream.
Right. They haven't experienced
it. So a person with an experiential knowledge is never at the mercy of someone who has a philosophical thought.
Right.
And we have these. I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
We've got a lot of stuff to go over.
Yeah, because there are other benefits. Another one is verbal abilities, although sometimes I question that that's true because sometimes I feel like my verbal abilities are not
mine has
always
went out
where
the
they
door.
need to be.
Yeah, at times.
But in general, you have a more expansive vocabulary. Typically, basic math skills are considered to be better as we age, just calculating.
Yeah, because we've been there. We've probably calculated that one number 1,000 times and we got it.
Or just knowing if something's, 30% off, you learn to do that more quickly. That reminds me of a funny story. One time, I think I was in someplace like Walgreens or CVS, and there were these bags of chips that I like, and it said, what did it say? Buy one, get one free. No, what was it? See, now I can't even tell the story.
Wow. Here we go. This is going to be a good episode. We don't even know what we're talking about. This is great.
I know what it was. Let me backtrack. It was $2.50, but they were 50% off. And so the cashier was a young woman, and she and I wasn't rude to her, but she was like having trouble figuring out what that would be. And I was just kindly said, well, it'd be $1.25. And she said, oh, well, it's been a long time since I've done math because, I haven't done math since I've been out of school. She's like, but you've been out of school for a lot longer than I have. And it's like she was amazed that my math skills were better because I'm so old. It was great. It was funny. But those kinds of things improve. Here's something that I think is great. And as they mentioned in this article, they call it accentuating the positive. But we're less likely to react in a negative way to situations. As your brain ages, you are less inclined to, brood and to stay in a negative state. And there's more contentment. And I think that's definitely true. I think that we've found that. Don't you think?
Kind of. Well, except for, earlier today, a package was not delivered that said it was delivered by Amazon to our house. So I decided to go to the United States Postal Service and talk to them, and
Right.
come to find out the person delivered it to a different house. Well, on my way home, I stopped by that house because we're neighbors, and it was not there. And the neighbors say that they haven't seen anybody, and I kind of trust the neighbors.
Right.
I believe that this person, the male person, was scared to climb our hill because it's intimidating. But anyway,
Yeah.
I wasn't very patient.
Okay, so you're saying you were acting old and cantankerous.
I was get off my lawn. That's how I was acting.
Okay.
Get off my lawn.
Okay, it's one of those days. Well, it's funny because,
Had a moment.
when it's time to record a podcast, we just have to do it, even if you've just had a run-in with the United States Post Office.
True that.
Right.
And you know what? He was probably having a bad day.
That's true. Maybe he's on top of it every day but today.
Just had an off day.
An off day. We didn't get our package, but it's on its way, hopefully.
Well, they said that they were going to bring it back by on their way back through our neighborhood.
Okay. All right.
But how can they bring it back by if it's on the neighbor's porch?
Right.
Sorry, not going there, not going to rant, but I am saying that the male people sometimes miss it.
They do.
It's a stressful job, I imagine.
Yeah.
I've never been a postal person.
Right.
I wanted to go postal a couple of times, as they used to say, but that is not a good thing.
Right. I know between the two of us, I mean, we've had almost every kind of job,
Yeah.
but no, I've never delivered mail, so
Yeah.
I can't say I would.
Well, I've
wouldn't be
done quite a
challenging
bit
and
of things.
stressful.
I've
Yeah.
been everything from an insurance salesman to an automotive technician to what else have I done? I've worked in factories. I've taught high school. I've taught
Construction.
college. I've taught construction.
I've done construction,
This is
restaurant work, hospital work.
But I did find that all of those times that I was taking those jobs, I was learning quicker in my younger age. I was a lot quicker in my learning.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me. So, so me having brain surgery, we'll go there.
Oh, okay.
We'll go there.
Since
Since we're talking about brains, I've got 3/4 of a brain left. Evidently, it's what I've been told. It could be more, could be less. Sometimes I feel like it's less.
Right, and you may want to explain that you at one point had an arachnoid cyst.
Killed off the frontal lobe. It was congenital. And so, there's a little bit missing up there. Really do have a few screws
Are
loose.
you playing the brain card again?
Till I don't have it.
Okay.
Will I ever not have the brain card?
No.
No.
Okay.
But anyway, where was I?
Well, you said you were talking about your brain surgery.
Yeah, this is ironic, isn't it? This is becoming almost a comical thing.
It's a theme.
It's a theme. But I noticed that whenever I started having these issues, and my brain started to act funny. Even with all of that going on, I had trouble remembering people's names.
Right.
And older folks, older than me, say, "Oh, man, you're doing good. I can't remember what I did yesterday." Or I walk in a room and forget where I'm at for 20 minutes.
Right.
Or I start looking for something and then forget what I'm looking for because I found something else that was more interesting. So I think that we've got these brain issues across the board, whether you're a brain patient or not. But
Right. Absolutely. And I also noticed a huge change when I had our children. And I don't know, if it was hormonal, and I don't know how much of it was temporary and how much was a permanent change because, I was always very analytical,
very smart.
Well, thank you. But those kind of more scientific types of topics just came natural to me. And I noticed after I had children, it's not that I didn't have those abilities still, but it seemed like my brain changed. And it's interesting because I wondered, well, if I still worked if I worked in a really scientific field, or I guess I would have been programmed enough to continue doing that kind of work. But it really did seem like that my brain changed a lot, and I was more interested in. I guess it was just became less analytical.
Yeah.
And maybe more interested in narrative types of ideas rather than math and science.
Yeah. Going towards that narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that my brain, the older I get, the more satisfied that I am with life. And it's not that I'm uneasy or I don't want to advance or I don't want to move forward in life. It's just like, I'm content. I'm happy. I feel like this, and I think that a lot of times has to be a choice. Are you going to despise your life that you've created or that has been thrust upon you, or are you going to be content with whatever state you find yourself?
Yeah. And to me, it also begs the question, is this part of God's divine design? It's not that our brain is diminishing, it's that it's changing. And so when we're younger, we have to have that drive. And so there is less contentment, perhaps naturally. And then also, it's important to learn things quickly because you're put in situations where you have to.
Right.
But then as you get older, you're more seasoned.
Right. But I don't want to lose that sense of adventure. That's something that I don't want to lose. I want to explore. I want to find new things. I like to experiment with things, I like audio. I like audio equipment. So we constantly are buying audio equipment. Just because it's fun. And also I like to dabble in different frequencies, different things like that. But
and you do the kind of work that requires ongoing learning. So if you're working in any kind of technology, any kind of media, things are ever changing.
All the time.
You're always having to stay on top of things. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you just got to buy a new hat.
That's right. That's right. I'm not sure what's happening here with the Wi-Fi. All right. Okay. Well, so that kind of leads into where I wanted us to go.
Wifey no work.
I hope she feels better soon. Okay. That's an inside joke. Anyway. But that leads me into the thought of kind of walking that line of balance between accepting that some things change as you age, but then also not giving into it because so much of aging is also a mentality. And so I don't want to ever succumb to more than I need to succumb to.
Don't change just for the sake of changing. Sometimes the things that you've created, you need to stick with.
Right.
Choose your battles. Choose what you want to learn. And don't waste your time with things that are not going to add to your life. If it's not going to add to your life, don't bother with it.
Yeah.
If it's not going to help somebody, if it's not going to help you, it's not going to help your family, it's not going to help somebody, just stay away from it.
Yeah.
Some things are not worth thinking about.
Yeah.
Worrying is not a good thing. And, you and I talk about that all the time.
Right.
Don't worry.
Right.
I mean,
don't worry.
Scripture tells us don't worry. Why don't we worry? Why should we not worry? Well, worrying cannot change anything.
Right.
It does do one thing. It brings anxiety. It brings sickness. It brings confusion. It brings, a lot of headaches.
Yeah.
It will bring, and metaphorically and physically, it causes your blood pressure to go up. It does nothing positive for you.
And I think as you grow older, if you will draw upon your experience, especially as a follower of Christ, you can draw on the fact that you've gone through challenging times and God's always gotten you through. And then, so why are you worrying right now? And of course, for me, that's something that I'm probably naturally inclined towards worry and anxiety, but I'm learning to kind of be more like you, just turn the old brain off and I'm learning that it's possible.
It is possible. You would tell me, it's like, how do you not think? And I'm like, watch.
Right.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
For us. And I understand that men and women are different.
Right.
We have the men have the ability to turn the brain off and watch something glow for hours upon end called the television. And we are watching nothing. You ask us, what are you doing? We say nothing.
Right.
And you don't understand, how could you be doing nothing? What are you thinking about? Nothing.
Right. For me, though, I have to, think about the scripture that talks about take captive every thought in obedience to Christ. And it's like, okay, just don't go there. And I love also in Psalm 34 that says to magnify the Lord. And so it's like we can choose what we focus on. But I'm learning too, though, that it's almost like a turning off of the brain. Let the brain relax. Yes, focus on the beauty that's around. Focus on the goodness of God.
Did not God say, here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy.
He did say, don't worry.
Right?
Yeah.
God didn't say that. That was...
No, he didn't sing that. No.
So that was...
No.
Yeah.
But anyway, I get
Bobby
the point.
McFerrin. I love Bobby McFerrin.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about this before we close up. There are things that the Bible has to say about aging. And I always think about Psalm 103 when it says, he will renew your youth like the eagles. And so I think that while, yes, we acknowledge that certain things happen, our body changes, our brain changes as we age, we also are promised that we can be partakers in the divine nature.
Yeah.
And that we can walk in divine health.
Right.
And so I love to focus on that and not always just accept that everything has to be just because we've come to think as a culture like, well, this is just what happens when you get old.
So what's the difference between inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning and just reasoning in general?
I don't ask me to define anything right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. So deductive reasoning would be removing all of the factors that don't matter, right? Is that what it would be? And inductive reasoning is what?
You tell me.
I'm not even sure.
Well, I do know, but I don't want to throw a definition out there and be totally wrong.
Where
are you going with this conversation?
Well, I think inductive, meaning absorbing, absorbing reasoning, I guess would be, in my mind, I may be wrong, but do we absorb knowledge? Or do we focus on knowledge and digest knowledge? I guess what I'm thinking is, as we get older, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, is what they say. So if I'm getting older, not learning is boring to me.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And deductive reasoning is fun to me because I see a problem. I want to deduce what's going on. I want to take out all of the factors, and I want to say, all right, if this, then this. If that, then that.
Yeah, you're a problem solver.
I like it.
You like to solve problems.
Life is a puzzle.
Yeah,
life is a puzzle.
And I just like learning. I mean, that's one of my I love learning just for the sake of learning. So yeah, we don't have to settle and grow old, but. Couple other thoughts about just some scriptures I wanted to point out. Isaiah 46:4 says, even to your old age and gray hairs, I am he who will sustain you. I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you. And then I love this in Deuteronomy 34:7. It says, Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyesight was clear and he was as strong as ever.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, And so there's a reason that is mentioned in God's word. And so, again, we don't have to always just accept all these little aches and pains, and we can stand on God's word, because you and I know that we have been, we've experienced supernatural healing.
Yep.
And we've experienced Him giving us strength when we don't have it in our own self.
Experiential knowledge. If you haven't tried Jesus, you might want to try Him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've tried life without Him and tried it with Him.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that every problem goes away. It just means that he sustains us with his joy and his peace.
And I feel like that if I didn't have Christ in my life, I would probably be in jail. I would probably be hurt, or I would hurt others. I feel like I do believe I have that in me.
You would have hurt the postal worker?
No. I wouldn't do anything. Now I'm just kind of like, I just want a package.
Yeah.
Because it was something for you, and I wanted to, help you achieve something that is good.
Yeah. It will happen. And I appreciate all that you do.
Well, I like you a little bit.
Well, I like our audience out there too. And
so you guys,
yeah, we're just thankful for you all. If you stuck around,
this was a chaotic podcast.
It was, and it's like,
but it's fine.
Showing our aging, and in full disclosure, we're both battling a couple of little issues, health-wise.
Issues. We have issues. We need to get some shoes and market them and put "is" on the side of them, IS, and these would be our issues.
And I'm walking on top of my issues.
And I'm walking on top of my issues. Yeah.
With that, yeah. All right. Well, guys, thank you all so much, and we will see you on the next episode.
All right. Bye.
Don't forget to like this video, and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.